them for you in English. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for coming. I don't know do I have to push? So no. Okay, good. Tina, can you? Okay.
Good morning. I'm Kamila Vámos from the Hungarian News Agency, and I've heard your speech in the morning, and you mentioned Hungary, and I was very happy to hear. So the Prime Ministerial candidate, Péter Magyar, first spoke about joining the European Public Prosecutor's Office among anti-corruption measures. And what is your opinion about this, and how long might take the process? What do you think about this? So this is my first question. Okay. Thank you.
Not only me, the entire EPPO team was very excited after this announcement, because we really think that our colleagues from Hungary should be with us in EPPO. In the last years, we work with some of them, and they are very good professionals, so I think this will bring a lot of added value for the EPPO. It's very important. Now, the procedure is that the Hungarian authorities have to inform the European Commission. A decision will follow. But from the EPPO side, I can tell you that we are ready. Whatever need, whatever help our colleagues in Hungary will need, we can deliver. We had this experience with 22 member states initially. After that, we have Sweden and Poland who joined, so we have a very nice list of things that has to be done. Now, how fast this will go depends probably on the legislator in Hungary. You have to adopt a law to implement EPPO regulation. So from this perspective, I don't know. But to tell you, from the EPPO's perspective, if all the legislation and all the other stuff that are not in our hands, it's solved, we are ready from tomorrow to start to work with our colleagues. Okay.
Hi, I'm Lefteris Papadimas from Reuters, and I would like to ask you how the Iran war affected your job, in the sense, are you focusing on smuggling in ports, maybe fuel smuggling or something? Do you activate a unit, a special unit for that?
I think our competence, one of our main competence is fighting against VAT fraud and, of course, the custom fraud. And ports are vulnerabilities when it's about the budget of the EU. We saw in our activity in the last years that there are a lot of criminal organized groups, especially from the third countries, let's say it, especially Chinese organized criminal groups, who are defrauding systematically the European budget and national budget. This is the danger for Europe. Whatever the EU will impose as a policy in order to be sure that this is not happening, they will find a way to evade it. This is why the work of EPPO in this field is very important. Fortunately, we had a great success here in Greece with Calypso operation, where we cooperated very well with the national authorities. And I think the model of what we did here can be multiplied in all the important harbors in the Europe, in those countries who are participating to the EPPO. I wouldn't say that we have a special task force. We have specialized colleagues at the central level. We have colleagues who were previously worked as police officers or custom officers, and they all the time are assigned in this kind of cases in order to have, with different technicalities, our European delegated prosecutors. But having this system of permanent chamber that I already explained, but if you need more explanations, I will tell you, we are able in a way to unify the practices in all the member states. And of course, in each member state where we discuss, the most important thing is to have dedicated police officer and dedicated custom officers to work in EPPO cases. And this is the way in which we can act in the same way in all the harbors in Europe. But what happened here with Calypso in the Piraeus port, it will happen also in other places, because we are focusing now to all the important harbors in Europe. And when it's about smuggling, you have all sorts of things. Fuel, electric bicycle, clothes, a lot of them.
My name is Alexis Kouvelis from Alpha TV. I want to ask you something very simple. Do you feel under attack from members of the government? Can I say?
I'm not sure that I know what you refer to. What attack?
We heard that it's a ridiculous file, the file for OPEK.
Who said that?
A member of the government, a minister.
Okay. No, I don't comment what the politicians are saying. I replied already to this.
Okay.
Okay.
And let me...
You know, if I have to reply in each day to all these statements, I will spend 23 hours per day to repeat myself. So, yeah.
Yes, but it's about the file of OPEK. It's not for you. It's for the file, ridiculous file.
I already replied to this. I already replied, and I hope you were in the room. If not, I have to repeat myself about this. I don't know. You heard what I said before?
Yes.
Okay.
Of
I
course.
replied already. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hello, I'm Zina Moscholiou from Tanea newspaper. You expressed your trust in the members of the Greek Judicial Council regarding the much discussed issue of the renewal of the appointment of the Greek delegated prosecutors. Now, regrettably, I feel I have to ask you, what will happen if the Judicial Council says no? Are there steps to be made by your side? Can they one-sidedly change the delegated prosecutors? Fire them, oust them? We've heard many, many terror stories. So,
Yeah. Well, it's difficult to comment hypothetical situations. Just to be very clear, so we have 3 colleagues in these situations. 2 of them are the ones who are working in OPEK case. I don't want to imagine this scenario. This scenario doesn't exist for me. There are only 2 options that are possible. If you think that EPPO is not right, and the renewal of the European delegated prosecutor decided by the College of the EPPO is not the right one, and the regulation has to be interpreted differently, you have to go to the European Court of Justice. You have to challenge this in the European Court of Justice. If they do this, I will comment this. The other option doesn't exist. They are renewed. This is an administrative step. And as I said, I have my full trust that the Superior Council will do what is right. They are independent. They will not follow this noise and what the politicians are saying. They are independent. And there is no reason in this world that they would have to not follow this administrative step. Again, my colleagues here in Athens did an outstanding job. They did their job. There is no reason to not have this decision. I fully trust that they will do the right thing. For me, there is no any other options. I don't see these options.
From Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, Germany. On OPEK, I mean, the EU funds for agriculture is a lot of money, and in a lot of countries there is fraud on EU agricultural funds. If you compare Greece now in terms of to what happens in other countries, in terms of how many potentially people are involved and how potentially the financial damage is, how does the Greek case compare?
Well, we have, when we put in our annual report the statistics, we have the cases with overall damages also for fraud with EU money, also with VAT fraud, with custom fraud. We have sometimes separate statistics. Here with OPEK, not all the money that were allocated in OPEK are investigated by EPPO, because in some situations there were errors, in some situations were irregularities, so I can give you the figures only from the cases that I see. But I don't see here a higher damage than we have in other member states for the similar crime, so I couldn't, again, I would say I wouldn't make a top 3, top 4, top 10 worst case scenarios. And that damages can be different due to these situations. The important thing in this situation is to clarify what happened and who is responsible for what. And we have, I would say, smaller cases when we have damages 20,000 euros, 30,000 euros. We have cases in which the damage is 100,000 euros. And it doesn't matter for us the level of damage. If it's a crime, we have to investigate. Everything that it's above 10,000 euros, we have to investigate. So for me, there is no petty crime. Oh, come on, Ms. Kövesi, they have stolen only 50,000 euros. Why are you doing this big thing for this amount of money? This, for me, doesn't exist. And I heard many times that you are not a good patriot because if you steal the national money, maybe it's a crime, but if you steal EU money, it's nothing. So I don't buy this. So I think even if it's 5,000, 7,000, 50,000, we as EPPO have to investigate. So if you need concrete, exactly statistics, we can deliver to you afterwards. I don't know by heart exactly the things, but it's not an outstanding amount in comparing with the other member states who have subsidies for agriculture.
Second question. Did you say before there were already some verdicts in this?
In some cases, yeah, because in 2021, when EPPO started, we already had few cases with the subsidies in agriculture, and we sent these cases in the court. At that moment, we were at the very beginning of our, let's say, existence. So we have received the cases with cases in which the damages were higher than 1,000 euros, and we treat them separately at the beginning. We didn't know that this is a systemic issue. But after a while, after a period of time, when we saw that we still continue to receive, in the meantime, we have received a lot of complaints. So after we started our operations, we saw that there were a lot of cases with OPEK. So in that moment, we changed our approach. So we didn't treat them separately. We started to see if there are connections, if behind of these kind of crimes there is organized crime or not. So at the very first, we treated them separately, yes. And we have few verdicts in these few small cases, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Iliana Magra. I'm a journalist with Kathimerini. Thank you very much for being here with us today. I wanted to ask you whether you think that your role and EPPO in general is an emblem of further EU integration, and if you think that from your experience, it can actually work, or what are the challenges? Thank you.
I think we prove already that we can work, and we can work very well. And as I said, being in EPPO, it's a matter of trust in the EU community. I think we have, for the first time, the first transnational prosecution office, and this makes the big difference, because up to the creation of the EPPO, the EU money have been spread everywhere, not only in Europe, also in third countries, everywhere. And it was very difficult to protect the budget of the European Union because everything was very fragmented. Now with the EPPO, I think is the best tool that the EU have to be sure that once the money are disbursed, the frauds are not happening anymore. I'm not saying that we clean and there will not be fraud, but I will say that the budget of the European Union and the financial interests of the EU are better protected since EPPO started to work. If you look at our annual report and you see the level of damages, the level of seizures that we took, you see that maybe I can say that we work in profit even if we are not a commercial company.
So you don't accept the criticism that the EU is all about bureaucracy?
I explained already. This is how we make things in Europe. You know, we have competence in 24 member states. We work with different legislation, different mentalities, different systems. When we see that there is a law that jeopardizes us to do our job, that makes our life more difficult, that if you follow that things, the money of the people will not be protected, we do something. This is how we do things in Europe. And once you are in EPPO, you have to do it like this. It's for your benefit.
I'm Lazaros Theodorakidis from voria.gr. You said before in your speech that here in Greece you have only one police officer and 2 members, a small team you have
In
Greece.
a specific case.
Yeah. OPEK case. Did you use AI in OPEK?
Oh, no. No, I don't think we should replace the police officers with robots. No, we didn't use AI in our cases. When it's about AI, we can develop some tools. In order to develop those tools, you need money. In order to need money, you have to have budget. And then in the last years, maybe you followed my difficult, let's say, issues that I had in order to get for the EPPO the right budget. So if we would have the right budget, maybe we can think to develop some tools that can be helpful in our activity. But of course, before that, we have to create policies to be sure that all the data are protected, because we will use operational data, we will use personal data. And once you put something in AI, in internet, no one knows where it will go, so we have to be very well prepared. So I will tell you, no, we are not using AI in this case, and not any case of the EPPO in this moment. Yeah.
Hello, I am Pavlos Fantazopoulos from Naftemboriki TV. It's obvious that you have a very firm determination to combat corruption, and brava for this. Now, following the recent disclosures regarding OPEK, you mentioned that more complaints are reaching your offices. So, could you shed some more light on what these cases concern? Could you elaborate on this?
Oh, about the complaints. Well, we received very few complaints regarding the subsidies in agriculture. Few of them were connected to OPEK. But I have to tell you that in general, just to give you an idea, last year we received more than 6,000 complaints from the private parties. And there are different types of complaints. Sometimes they complain about cases that falls under our competence, mainly public procurement, subsidies in agriculture, corruption in the healthcare system, public procurement in IT, sometimes RRF funds, we receive this. Very rarely we receive complaints regarding, for example, VAT or custom. Sometimes we receive tax evasion. Sometimes we receive complaints that are not in our competence. For example, I'm an honest citizen of this town. Our mayor is very corrupt, and only EPPO can solve this issue. This, it's a little bit too vague. All the time we ask more information from the private parties, and if they indicate something that it's in our competence, we are doing something. But when it's not our competence, we all the time send and we refer these complaints to the national authorities. Sometimes we received complaints regarding drug trafficking or human trafficking, and we send this to the national authorities. So we keep only the cases that are connected with our investigation. But as a general remark, sometimes in some member states, people see EPPO as the last resort, the last instance who can help them. And this, in a way, shows that they really trust in us. But we cannot solve all the issues in the world, unfortunately.
Has it happened at all to bump onto any mentions of RRF?
Sorry?
RRF.
For RRF funds, yes, we received some complaints that were connected to RRF funds, how the RRF funds were spent. Yes, we received.
Hello, good morning. I'm George Lambert, journalist from PowerGame.gr and Parapolitica Media. I would like to ask you a few things about Greece and OPEK case. If it's a kind of modus operandi, gives you a modus operandi for similar cases in other countries, and which are going to be your next steps concerning this case, the OPEK case? Thank you so much.
This is a kind of modus operandi that we saw also in other member states. It's not something that has been invented in Greece, because this idea to use fake documents or fake statements in order to get EU money, it has been used in almost all the member states. We are trying to share the typologies that we see in our cases with the national authorities, especially with the managing authorities, with those institutions that also can prevent. In some situations, when we saw that there is a typology that it's a kind of systemic, we have sent the letters and we inform the national authorities, look, you have this procedure and this is how it is abused. And sometimes the member states, based on what we asked, they change the procedure in order to prevent to have other crimes. So we are sharing all the time our typologies. It's not something that we saw only in Greece and nowhere else. Yeah.
What about the next steps?
The next step is to have enough resources and to fight with all the criminals, because now the level of detection improved. There is more awareness about how they commit the frauds, and we have to fight more. So our job is a never-ending story. We have to do our job all the time. I cannot tell you that, we will be so efficient that in the end of the year, there will not be crimes at all in the EU. I cannot tell you this. But I have to tell you that we are determined to fight in each day, and we all have to do it, not only EPPO, also at national level.
Thank you. John Hazoulis from Agence France Presse. Can I just confirm you had 6,000 complaints from Greece last year?
Not from Greece, from all the citizens in all the member states, not only. This is the total amount, more than 6,000 complaints that we have received from citizens from everywhere, not from Greece.
Can we say for Greece? And earlier you mentioned you had some complaints about corruption in the health system. Were they substantial enough that investigations will come also about the Greek health system?
Well, for specific statistics, please, I have to remind you that I'm not a good mathematician, so I don't have all the statistics in my head, and unfortunately I gave my annual report to the moderator, but we can deliver after this the exact statistics, how many complaints we receive from Greece. For healthcare system, when you think to the healthcare system, people in general think to those crimes that you give 50 euros to the doctor to treat you better or to make a faster appointment. No, it's not only about this. It's also about the equipment that they bought in the hospital, the renovation of the hospitals. It's also about the pharmaceutical products that they are buying, and there are different public procurement that are narrowed in the way to use a specific medicine. So we have different kind of situations, and yes, we saw this in a lot of member states. I cannot point out that we have this corruption in the healthcare system only in one member state. And sometimes, yes, the private party sends complaints regarding, for example, the infrastructure or the technical equipment in specific hospitals.
Thank you for the question. My name is Yannis Foskolos from Open TV and Ethnos Elmerisia. I would like to ask you if you had any obstacles or interferences in your investigation here in Greece regarding OPEK while trying to do your job. There have been politicians also who suggested that the way of dealing this case was a way to press the Greek delegation of prosecutors for the renewal of their term. How you comment on these suggestions? And you said that there have been complaints about the RRF funds. Do you consider them as a serious one? How do you, in first term, see them if there are substantial evidence in these cases? Thank you.
Obstacles and challenges we have all the time. Let's take as a challenge the fact that in each day you have to read the newspaper and to see what they invented wrong about your work. I think the main challenge that we have here in Greece was the lack of resources that we had. And I already explained this issue with the duplicating our work. This is also something that maybe can be solved. And The renewal of the European delegated prosecutor, we have a regulation for this. And with 8 months before the mandate of any European delegated prosecutor expires, there is a procedure that we have to follow inside of the EPPO. So we just did it. The 5 years mandate of those 3 colleagues who have to be renewed will expire this year. So we follow the procedure. So there is no any connection with what they did in the investigation and this renewal from our side. I'm sorry, if you can repeat the last question. The RRF funds. But sometimes are serious allegations. So sometimes we have even whistleblowers, and they know from inside how, for example, a specific tender procedure was narrowed, how they restricted the criteria of the public tender in order for a specific company to win. So sometimes we receive concrete information, sometimes not. Usually we can open an investigation when we have concrete details. You have, I don't know, the name of the company or the procedure or a concrete situation. If you come say that I know that our mayor is corrupt, it's very difficult for us to open an investigation without having more elements because also our competence is limited. But sometimes we have very good information from the private parties with concrete elements. Sometimes they even put documents, copy of documents or different other evidence that can be used in our investigation.
So we can expect an investigation for something concerning RRF funds?
But we have, in EPPO in general, we have a lot of investigation that in Greece, I don't know how many cases we have with this, but we can reply, we can ask our colleagues how many cases ongoing. I don't know, maybe we have. If it's about statistics, please allow me to reply after, and Tina will take care of this. Yeah. We have 24 member states, we have thousands of cases. It's very difficult for me to keep track of all of them.
So it's not about Greece, or you said?
No, it's in general about, I said. Maybe I should say in Greece, and if not, I refer in general, yes.
Hi, Anastasis Kuchogiannis from FYI.news. Switching from OPEK case to another important case in Greece, the Wiretapping case. Some time ago, like the first verdicts on that case were released, and 4 individuals were found guilty here in Greece. Are you gonna start or like open investigation about the Wiretapping case in Greece again?
About Wiretapping case?
The Wiretapping case, yeah.
I'm not exactly very sure of what you're referring to. Indeed, we have some wiretappings in some of the OPEK investigations. We had that, yes, but as you can imagine, I cannot speak about that.
Okay. Thank you.
How do you mean wiretappings in the OPEK investigation?
In some investigations, there were wiretapping made officially with authorization, as an investigative technique. If this was the question, I don't know. Yeah.
But we're using like malware to capture like...
No. In OPEK, we have this possibility with authorization to make wiretapping in order to have evidences. This was legally made. I don't know anything about a case where someone used malware. We are not investigating the predator. If it's about that, no, it's not about that. It's applying the procedure, the legal procedure that is regarding to wiretap to use as evidence. And probably you know that we had this in some of our cases. But they were produced legally. Yeah.
Thanks. Good morning. I am Sarkadi Csaba from Hungary, from economics. Do you believe if Hungary joins the EPPO, Viktor Orbán, former Prime Minister, will face an indictment or investigation?
Let's go together to the oracle. Now, for Hungary, there is a specific situation, and we have 2 different situations in EPPO. When Poland and Sweden decided to join EPPO, Poland said that when they sent a request to the European Commission, they said that they want to join EPPO and their competence would start from the moment when we became operational for 2021. So it's a kind of retroactive competence, and they could do it. It was legal. Sweden, when they joined EPPO, they said that the competence will start for the moment that they will join. So all the crimes that were committed after the moment that they joined. So we have two different situations in EPPO. Let's see how Hungary will choose to deal with this.
And what is your professional advice or message to the new Hungarian government or Peter Magyar?
Oh, I'm not in the position to give advices to the politicians. But I hope I will meet the Minister of Justice and the General Prosecutor and all the responsible people involved in this succession to the EPPO, and for them I have a lot of advices.
Thanks.
Thank you. I am Georgia Legu from Antenna Miss Kovesi. How would you describe your cooperation with Greek authorities and Greek government?
And up to now, I don't have anything to say wrong about our cooperation. I think they were very open to our suggestions. Of course, we had different things to be solved. I see after each meeting some positive developments. As I said also in our meeting, even with this case, I consider that the declaration, the statement of the Prime Minister was fair, that we have to finalize the case fast. I think the meetings that we had yesterday with the Minister of Finance, Minister of Interior, and Minister of Justice were good meetings, and we established, I would say, a plan for the next step, so I don't have anything to complain. No.
Hello, Ms. Kovesi. Welcome to Greece. I'm Maria Spiridaki from Super Media Creta. It's an island in Greece. That's, with OPEK, we have some problems there, maybe, because they say that it's a scandal that it's based on Creta, but I'm not sure. I would like to hear your opinion. That's my first question. And another question about the financial support in EPPO. I mean, your speech there, your interview was very inspirational about justice. I felt really nice when I was hearing you talking about justice and other people that complain and say that they need justice in Greece. So I would like to ask you, you said that you are few people doing a very bad, difficult job. Who supports you economically? If, with respect, I mean, this question. I mean, does Europe support you? Your job is, you know, without financial support for somebody else?
No.
Because I felt that you say that we need money to keep doing our job without other contractions or obstacles. Thank you.
First, we do not, as I said, when we speak about OPEK, these crimes were committed mainly in all the territory of Greece. So it's not a scandal here and there and this island, that island. So from our side, it's not like that. Now, the financial support, we can have only the EPPO budget. We cannot receive donations from the citizens. We cannot receive donations from NGOs or from, I don't know, private companies. It's not allowed, and I think it's not good to have that. The problem was that all the time the budget of the EPPO was subestimated, and we never had a proper budget to develop in the way that EPPO has to be developed. We spoke about artificial intelligence.
But why? I mean, doesn't Europe trust you? That's my question, because I trusted you when I heard you. Doesn't Europe trust you?
To tell you the truth, when I started, the EPPO had an initial budget of few millions euros, and they said that I should start with 32.25 people. It was difficult for me to understand what it's a quarter of people, you know. I'm not used with that, but they explained part-time and these kind of things. I said, we cannot be serious. We cannot build a serious prosecution office in Europe with 10 millions, 12 millions, and 30 people. So I made a plan, and we asked for the right resources that you need to have, the proper number of European delegated prosecutors, to have enough support to follow our investigations. Now, to give you an example, because we spoke about IT, about the IT tools. Last year, we asked 5 or 7 million euro in order to have our own IT system and to develop some tools that can be helpful in our investigations, okay? Just for you to know, in 4 of our VAT investigations, the biggest ones that we have, we gather more than 2,000 terabytes of information. 2,000 terabytes of information. Sometimes this information is not only connected to VAT fraud. We discovered connections with financing of terrorism, traffic of weapons, traffic of drugs, traffic of persons, and all the time this information has been sent to the national authorities. To give you a concrete example, we had a situation in which the criminals used the same infrastructure for VAT to sell machine guns, and they were used in a specific member states to kill people in the street. And this, in general, when you see machine guns, this is not EPPOs, this is not financial criminality. So, in order for us to assess this huge amount of information, of course, we would have to use some IT tools. If you don't give me 5 million euros in the conditions that we seized, more than 1.2 billion euros, that was last year, we seized that amount of money, and when those cases will be finalized, this money probably will be executed and they will enter in the national budget or the EU budget. I don't know how to reply to this. You know, criminal organizations, they have unlimited resources. They don't have borders, they are flexible to go here and there, they have access to the best IT tools, and we are a little bit behind. The only luck is that we are a little bit smarter than them. But you know, in one moment, it's very difficult to compete. So this is a problem about the financing. The reasons, maybe the ones who has to decide on our budget, they should have explained you why there are other priorities, and the only institution at EU level who can practically help to put money back in the budget doesn't receive the money.
My name is Marina Protonotariou. I'm from Mono News, a business and financial site in Greece. Could you please give us an idea of the cases that you have under investigation in Greece beyond OPEK, other cases? Do they concern municipalities, public sector, procurements, overpricing of procurements, something?
Well, we have few cases with custom fraud and VAT frauds. We have some other cases regarding the frauds with EU money. Some of them are connected to the public procurement. I cannot confirm if there are high officials involved in these cases or not in this moment.
How many cases are under this investigation?
Oh, I will give you the figures after.
Okay.
I don't know by heart how many cases we have.
You say you are a good institution. I am from France TV. You are a good institution. Every citizen trusts in you. Do you think you are really an institution or you are an alibi for EU?
And we are?
An alibi. I don't know the word in English. Alibi. Alibi.
What to say? Maybe we are not perfect. Only God is perfect for me. But we are a good institution, and we have a good will, and we do a lot of good things with courage and with determination. If we are successful 100%, I don't know. I don't know if we are successful 100%, but we try to be successful in 100%. And we have the determination and the will to fight with the criminals. For many years, everyone in the EU was a little bit relaxed that the money are protected, you know, that the level of fraud is very low. And when EPPO was created, and after we started the activity, we discovered a new continent of crime, and we discovered that organized crimes and the criminal organizations are growing, and they become more powerful defrauding the national budgets and the EU budgets. And from this perspective, I don't know, you can name EPPO as you want, any ally that you want to put, but I think, yes, we are unnecessarily and a needed institution to fight with these criminals and especially with organized crime. Why? Because everything that was done on national level, you can have the best prosecutors in France, and you have good prosecutors there too, and good police officers, I know that. But all the time they work fragmented. They see what is happening in France. Now imagine that you have this suprastatal institution named EPPO that sits here like in a helicopter and can see everything that is happening. And this is why the criminals were so successful in the past, especially the organized criminals, because they took advantage of this fragmentation. If you have a crime in France and there are connections in 5 member states, you have to speak with 5 different prosecutors in 5 different member states to speak with 5 different police officers. Now you are in EPPO, you don't have to do that because you have your own colleagues in the other offices. You call them directly and you get what you want, even in 24 hours, even in 4 hours. To give you an example, we had a search in Italy in a big case. And during the search, the criminal, the suspect, said that he traveled in Romania. In 4 hours, only 4 hours, we were able to seize the money of that criminal in Romania. Without EPPO, this would have never been possible. I work as a prosecutor more than 30 years, and I never got a reply from outside of Romania in less than 24 hours. Now you can tell us if we are good or not, efficient or not. You can't put any names, but I'm telling you that the creation of the EPPO is the biggest achievement of the EU in the last years. Thank you.
Is there anybody who hasn't asked the question yet?
Hello, Mrs. Kövesi. Thank you for being here. I'm Lefteris Kokinis from reader.gr. I think we can safely say that during these months, your actions have created 2 different and very distinct reactions in Greece, because on the one hand, we see government officials criticizing you personally and calling your work an intrusion into Greek politics and a violation of the nation's sovereignty. But on the other hand, we see citizens in buses, cafeterias, supermarkets, using your name as the embodiment of hope against corruption. So, putting the politicians aside, what is your message to the Greek citizens? Thank you.
Okay. This with different reactions, you know. If you are a prosecutor, either they love you, either they hate you. Honest people will love you. The bad people will hate you. There is no gray zone. And I never trusted in a prosecutor when I heard, that is a good guy. I never trusted in those kind of people. So I'm aware that our work and the way how we work sometimes can create different reactions. And sometimes also it's mandatory for us to explain a little bit better because we use all the time a technical language. Now, speaking directly with the Greek citizens, as I said in this morning, I really trust that they can see the reality, they can see the truth through this smoke scene that has been created, to this attempt to disrupt the attention from the main and the most important thing. What I'm telling them is don't give up. Corruption can be defeated. Don't give up. And don't forget that the EPPO is here to work for you in your name and to help to have a cleaner Greece. This is my message. And again, if you know something about any crime that was committed, please address to EPPO here in Greece, to our office in Luxembourg, in your language, and we will try to do our best.
Hello, I'm Yannis Simeonidis from politic.gr. Concerning your meeting yesterday with the Greek Minister of Justice, there are reports referring to the Greek minister saying that he asked from you to compile all the files concerning OPEK at once and sent them to the Greek parliament. Is that true? And what was your response on that? And secondly, on your Ukrainian flag on your badge, is that an answer as well to some Greek politicians insinuating that you act as a secret agent of Russia?
Oh, this is new for me. Thank you.
But
Thank you for letting me to know. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah. Well, many years I was agent for CIA. I was a French agent. Now I'm a Russian one. Okay, good. So we didn't discuss yesterday anything about the cases. It was in the general context when the Minister of Justice said that they want to change the procedure in Greece in order to finalize the cases faster. We said yes, because also I followed what the Prime Minister said, and we have to finalize this case faster, and we also want to finalize the case faster. So it was not any discussion about the specific case and what we are doing in the case. It was in general about how the law can be changed, or what ideas are in order to change the law to be more efficient. Now about this flag. I wear this flag since the war started. After a few days after the war started, I visited Ukraine and I signed a working arrangement with the Ukrainian General Prosecutor. And it's a way to show that I took a stand. You know, I'm a person that works in justice. Justice can work in two ways. Justice can serve the citizens, and this is the democracy. And justice can serve one person and few of them. This is tyranny, this is dictatorship. And this is why I have to take stand for democracy. And it's a way to show my solidarity with my colleagues in Ukraine, but with the entire Ukrainians who are fighting very hard, who are risking their life in order to protect the entire Europe. At least it's a small thing that I can do. Doesn't have anything to do with Russia, only in this context. Yes, please.
Could I ask again on agricultural funds?
Yes, please.
Is there a lesson to be learned the way the EU hands out those funds? I understand you tell sometimes the national authorities, you give them maybe recommendations because you see the reality on the ground. You give them recommendations how on the national level the authorities could change something. Is there enough surveillance on the part of the EU Commission in handing out those agricultural funds?
Okay. We share these results of our investigations with the Commission. In some of the investigation, when we see that there is something systemic, we send this letter, these notifications to the Commission. We notify them about all our indictments in order for them to be able to follow and to increase the level of recovery. Also, when we see that there are attempts to rule of law in different member states, we have an obligation based on the mechanism of rule of law to flag this to the Commission. Of course, we share the typologies that we see for them in order to be able, but still, when it's about the EU level, the level of detection of EU level, it's still very low. We still have institutions, bodies and agencies that do not report when they see something, they do not report to the EPPO, these potential crimes. Now, to be very blind, I don't think it's a matter, as I said, a matter of procedure, what has to be done. It's also a matter of mentality. It's also a matter of mentality. I was a little bit astonished at the beginning when we spoke a lot about the VAT fraud and custom fraud. And I saw that from the side of the EU institution, there were no interest. But all the frauds from the custom, they go directly in the budget of the EU. So we had to work a little bit and to explain them what we see. And it was this mentality, oh, Ms. Kövesi, we work in this way 20 years. Now you are here and you want to change this. Yes, because you made possible to have EPPO. And now we have EPPO at EU level. And yes, of course, the thing has to be changed. Olaf has to reshuffle their activity. Everyone has to reshuffle their activity because EPPO it's here. And EPPO has a specific task, EPPO has a specific competence. So this thing with mentality is not only at the level of some member states, also at EU level. Yeah, I was told that I'm too ambitious. I don't know.
Procedures have to change also? Because
some procedures have to change. Everything has to change. Even this new anti-fraud architecture, this has to be changed. I heard many times how to improve the cooperation between OLAF and EPPO. Guys, you did that 20 years. 20, 30 years ago, when I entered in the office as prosecutor, I heard that I have to fight with organized crime. After 30 years, I'm in the same point. We have to fight with organized crime. What happened in these years? I heard, Ms. Kövesi, you see only handcuffs. We have to prevent. The last 20 years proved that the prevention, it was not enough. I'm a big fan of prevention, but it's not enough. Sometimes you have to intervene with criminals' means and to put the dangerous criminals where they belong, because they become more powerful. Imagine only from VAT fraud, the damages are higher than 50 billion euros in each year. All those money goes in the hands of the criminals. They could have been very easily in the budget of the EU or member states and improve whatever they want to improve, but it goes in the hands of criminals. So, of course, everything has to be changed. This new anti-fraud architecture should be based on how to fight better, even from the EU level, against the organized crime.
We're reaching the end, so let's do maybe 2 final questions.
Hi, thank you for taking time and answering all our questions. I'm Mirtopoli Mili from το Βήμα, a newspaper. I wanted to ask you, in your tenure, you've talked about one of the biggest challenges is the mentality, this is how things done. Have you seen a change? Are you positive that all the work that you've been doing across 24 countries is making an impact in the long run? Thank you.
In general, yes. I saw a lot of changes, especially in Greece. If there is at least one Greek citizen who come and say, no, Ms. Kövesi, you are right, this is not the way how we should do the things in Greece, yes, that is something that changed. And I'm sure there are not only 1 or 2 or 10, there are hundreds, thousands of Greek citizens who really believe that corruption is not a way of life here in Greece. And I hope we contributed to this.
Stelios Kandias from sky.gr. Sources from the Ministry of Justice say that the EPPO addressed the Greek Supreme Council about the renewal of the tenure of the attorneys. So you recognize the jurisdiction of the Greek authorities over this?
Okay, maybe those sources are not specialists. So it's a little bit different what we discussed. After we renew the mandate, I explained already the procedure, but I will go again. After we at EPPO level renew the mandate of the European delegated prosecutors, of course, we communicated this to the Ministry of Justice. It's something that we do everywhere, because they have to know that these prosecutors will continue to work for the EPPO. Based on the Greek law, now there is an administrative step in which the Superior Council has to detach those prosecutors from that position at national level to the EPPO. And it's normal to send that letter. If I don't send that letter to tell them, hey, we renew the mandate, how should they come? Should they read the newspapers? I don't think so. So it's normal to send a letter and to tell them, we renew the mandate. I put even a copy of the decision. We explain what we did. The decision is reasoned. And I ask them, please proceed further to finalize the procedure. But we didn't discuss yesterday about these letters. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, the last. Okay.
Thank you. This is Chris Frago from the Greek crisismonitor.gr. Do they have a veto on that, the Supreme Court? Can they veto? Can they stop the...
I said 3-4 times, I don't see any reasons for them to do it. We have prosecutors who did an outstanding job. I cannot imagine this scenario, I'm sorry.
If they have, legally.
If there anyone has a disagreement with what we did, I'm waiting to see a case in front of the European Court of Justice is in Luxembourg. I will wait for that. If that will not happen, I cannot imagine another scenario. There is no possible. Thank you very much. I have a boss, so thank you.